Hi, my name is April Ernst. My husband and I, Scott, own Old World Libations. We actually opened up March of 2021. Today is our Apple Cider Fest. Every year we have it the fourth weekend in October on Saturday and Sunday. My husband presses all the cider fresh, usually 2 days before we have the fest. And we have vendors and different food trucks that come in, and every year it keeps growing. We encourage you to come out and visit us. We are open year-round. We do close December 20th this year until January 10th. Check our Facebook page to make sure we are open with the holidays. But come on out and see us, and we'd love to see you try our libations.
When we do this, when we press all the juice for the cider pressing, there's so much juice that we're doing that we can't do it while everybody's here. It's too chaotic and too, quite honestly, dangerous with the tractor and things like that. So we pressed everything. On Wednesday and Thursday, a total of 1,150 gallons. The actual grinder that we use is this. As fast as we can feed in the apples, it is basically going to grind them, turn them into what looks like a chunky applesauce. When we press apples, this year we did 11 different varieties. Normally, if you're going to make a hard cider or a good fresh cider, you need a minimum of about probably 7 or 8 different types of varieties, just because you need sweet, you need tart, you need stuff with tannins in there. So we get a wide variety of apples to be able to do that. Once we grind everything, then we'll manually take it and put it into this press. This is a larger press. I'm going to swing it just a hair for you. So this is a 70-gallon hydraulic press, and if you want to look in here, you can kind of see this is an inflatable bladder. So what happens is we end up pouring all the apples around it. The air collapses out of it, and the way the apples just compress it. At that point, when it's completely full, we fold the mesh bag over, and we basically put on what is a pressure cooker lid on top of it, ratchet it down, and now we have a pressure vessel at that point. From there, we'll have a trough that's completely full with water. And when we were doing this for real, we had one grinder going and 2 presses at any given time, just because we need that kind of for the balance of the workload. But we'll take the water out of here, pump it with a high pressure pump into the bladder. It will actually inflate to the outside, so we're pressing from the inside out. All the juice comes down the side, and then we'll collect it in buckets. That gets transferred to a tank out here, and then it all gets pushed by a pump into the other tanks. So what we'll do is, everything that I just told you, we'll kind of do it in a much smaller scale. So this is a press that we also use here. This press has a ton of benefits. One, manually, as far as labor goes, it's extremely easy because it's just water pressure that's pressing it. Yeah, we still have to lift the apples in. Each load in there, you're looking at about 500 pounds of apples. So we have to dump the apples in. When it's pressed, we have to pull the apples out and get rid of them. But we don't have to actually crank on the press like back to the old days. This press is called a double ratchet press, and this is the one that we use today. The benefit to this is we don't need a full pressing basket. On this one, it's got to be full. You can't do anything else. This one we use usually for berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, maybe strawberries. Because it doesn't matter how full it is, we can still press it and get a good press out of it. A bruise here and there is not a big deal. What we don't throw in is I already threw them out, is anything that is starting to rot, anything that's cut open, turning black, any kind of decay or anything like that. So if you guys want to come over and help me, anybody, don't make me do it all myself. And this is what we'd be doing large scale as well. You can see it kind of looks like a very chunky applesauce. That is great for pressing because it actually gets the juice out easily. Once we get into the softer apples, that's when it becomes a little bit more of a challenge, so we just add double the rice hulls. Alright, so as soon as we put this in here, you'll actually start to see the free run juice come out. The bag is no other reason than to prevent the apples from squishing out the basket. If you don't use the bag, it is a complete and utter mess. All I'm going to be doing is putting a plate on the press. This is that way so we press evenly and it doesn't bind or anything. So this thing, double ratchet press, amazing engineer at some point in life made this thing. So every direction that you move, it's actually compressing it down if I have these in the right direction. And if you guys want, if anybody wants to come up here, as soon as it gets light, you can press it a little bit. So there's always a certain amount of sugar, natural sugars that are going to be associated with cider. So what this is called is a refractometer. And so we just put a couple drops on it. And if I come out in the somewhat sunlight here. Alright, so if you guys want to look in here, what you're going to see, there's two scales. One is on the left, one is on the right. The one on the left is what winemakers and cider makers usually use. It's called bricks. So you'll see some numbers. You'll see a white section and a blue section. Where that is a dividing line, you look at the number and that tells you how much alcohol will come out of the cider. So if you guys want to look in here, feel free. This is the same thing that we use in the vineyard.
500 gallon tank. And we're about down to here. But we have about 600 more gallons back in the other room. So.
Bob wire. As you can see.